As many of you may know, Microsoft and Xbox have been embroiled in legal proceedings with the FTC because of their acquisition of Activision Blizzard. And as part of that, there's just been a lot of stuff that's been leaking from within the company as part of the whole legal ordeal where they have to present documentation and the like. And we just got not only one of the biggest leaks from this whole FTC situation, but straight up one of the biggest leaks ever. We've pretty much gotten a glimpse of what Microsoft's future plans look like, including their next-gen console. So let's dive right in. Wario64 here compiled a number of reset-era posts that show various slides of Microsoft's plans surrounding future hardware, all leaked thanks to FTC documents. And here's the reset era thread in question. I've gone ahead and zoomed in on some of the screenshots. So first of all, we have this slide right here that breaks down some mid-gen devices lined up for Xbox in the form of Xbox Series S and Xbox Series X refreshes. These upcoming mid-gen devices are not upgrades when it comes to its specs and hardware. You can see right here that these are still 4 teraflops and focused on 1440p for Xbox Series S. And then for the Xbox Series X here, 12 teraflops with a focus on 4K, which is the same as the current Xbox Series X. Now, the refreshed Xbox Series X is going to come with one USB-C port, which the current version of Xbox Series X lacks. And it's going to come with Xbox's new controller, the Xbox Wireless 2, codenamed Sibyl. There are also going to be versions of the refreshed Xbox Series X and the new Xbox controller that are going to be in XDL, meaning Xbox Design Lab, so customizable. Now, the most controversial aspect of the new Xbox Series X in particular is that apparently it's going to be all digital. It's not going to come with a disk drive. Plenty of people still buy physical games and prefer that medium, and so to see the possibility that disk drives might be eliminated altogether, I don't feel good about that prospect. Now, if you already own an Xbox Series X, that has a disk drive, so you'll be fine there, and this is the same specs. You can just buy the disc version of the Xbox Series X, the non-refreshed version if you're still into physical discs, but just seeing this trend is unnerving. Oh, and one more thing to note about these refreshes is that they'll apparently come with more internal storage. So the Series S refresh will go up to 1 terabyte instead of 512 gigabytes, and the Xbox Series X refresh will go up to 2 terabytes. And in general, consulting this chart, everything that's in the color green is basically all the new stuff for these refreshes or the new controller. As for what the design of the new Xbox Series X refresh will look like, well, here it is. It's going to be a cylinder instead of a rectangular prism. And it reads right here that Brooklyn, the code name for the Xbox Series X refresh, will deliver 4K Gen 9 console gaming with more internal storage, faster Wi-Fi, reduced power, a more immersive controller, and a beautiful redesign that elevates the all-digital experience of the Xbox ecosystem. Yep, all digital. And on the right here, we have even more specifics. All new South Bridge to modernize I/O and sustainability efforts. Wi-Fi 6E radio for better throughput, latency, and interference mitigation. Bluetooth 5.2 radio for improved accessory experiences. And then finally, they managed to improve efficiency of the console with a 6 nanometer die shrink. There are a bunch of details about sustainability here, about the reduction in power usage, and the fact that the package is 100% recyclable, which is pretty cool. And then giving our fans more to love. So you got a beautiful and innovative new design, more internal storage for games, 2 terabyte USB-C front port with power delivery, all new, more immersive controller, and the same price, $500. As for what the new controller looks like, here it is. It's got this like Stormtrooper black and white color scheme, and it's got some new features, I think. The thing that'll catch your attention the most is this segment right here, where it talks about precision haptic feedback, which no doubt took inspiration from the PlayStation 5 controller's haptic feedback and how positively that's been received. VCA haptics double as speakers as well, which is interesting. The best way to describe haptic feedback is essentially sound translated into feel. And when you think about sound, what it really is ultimately is vibrations. And so it's about taking that and enhancing it in a way where you can feel it in your hands. And when you can get the haptic feedback motors to get loud enough, because of its ability to change frequency and whatnot, you can't actually generate sound. The Steam controller, in fact, you could set it in such a way that when you boot up the Steam controller, its haptic feedback could play a tune when you boot it up and stuff like that. So it's interesting that they're going to double haptics as speakers. I'm curious how, high fidelity those speakers will be, but it's an interesting idea. And then alongside that, you've got accelerometers and quieter buttons and thumbsticks. Also cool about this controller is that it comes built in with modularity when it comes to thumbsticks. Apparently, the controller is also going to come included with rechargeable and swappable batteries. And then connectivity-wise, it's going to leverage the newer Bluetooth 5.2. And then one last thing worth pointing out is the emphasis on cloud here, direct to cloud. New mobile app features, including C-pair devices and cloud. Xbox has already tapped into cloud gaming with Xbox Game Pass and the way you can take certain games and play them on the cloud, and also just directly kind of pick up where you left off through local gaming as well and kind of switch back and forth. Just a nice unified ecosystem. It's likely that they're going to double down on that stuff, especially in the next generation console, which I'll get to in a bit. But before then, here's the launch timelines for the upcoming Xbox refreshes, as well as the new controller, which is coming out first for $70. Seemingly, it's going to launch sometime in late May of 2024, or at least that's the current plan. And then the announcement for the Xbox Series S and X refreshes, the mid-gen console announcement will happen sometime in June of 2024, likely during an Xbox live stream of some sort. Right here, it's labeled Xbox Gaming Beat. It'll likely be like an Xbox showcase or something along those lines. And then comes the launch of the Xbox Series S and Series X refreshes, which is happening sometime in late August for Series S, and then sometime in late October for Series X. A 60-day plus separation between launches enables dialogue with different audiences, is what Xbox believes, which is why they're launching the refreshes at different points in time. And then that finally brings us to Xbox's next generation console, which, there's quite the detailed breakdown right here, both in terms of what their goals are and also when we can expect it to launch. Apparently, the next-gen Xbox console is coming out sometime in 2028. That's the current plan, at least, unless something delays those plans. Here's a summary of what their vision of the console is: develop a next-generation hybrid game platform capable of leveraging the combined power of the client and cloud to deliver deeper immersion and entirely new classes of game experiences. This is what I meant by it's clear that Microsoft is going to lean heavily into cloud moving forward. I don't believe this means they're going to essentially try to pull off a Stadia or anything. It is stated very clearly right here that they want a hybrid environment where both local hardware and cloud gaming is leveraged. It's very clear from what the early specs of the next-gen console looks like that local hardware gaming is not going away. As far as CPU goes, it seems as though they're considering between an ARM 64 processor or an x64 Zen 6 processor. For reference, the current Xbox Series X uses Zen 2 CPU architecture, so Zen 6 is quite a few generations ahead. GPU, co-designed with AMD or licensed AMD IP, Navi 5. And then when it comes to graphics innovations, they list out next-gen DirectX ray tracing, dynamic global illumination, micro-polygon rendering optimizations, ML-based super resolution, extensibility model for faster iteration and innovation. So enhancing and doing more with the graphical capabilities that are currently still kind of like developing. And then there's something here about thin OS for handheld devices. I'm assuming this might be an operating system for those who don't own an Xbox console and instead want to play Xbox games on the cloud through their own handheld devices, smartphones, laptops, tablets, you name it. Microsoft has also been teasing a cloud-only gaming console that's going to be just super tiny and just really cheap for those who don't have the money to invest in hundreds of dollars worth of hardware, but want to play the Xbox games through Game Pass and through the cloud. So in terms of value proposition for those who hopefully have a good enough internet connection to leverage that, I think maybe that's what ThinOS is for. But yeah, the plan is for that to come out sometime in 2028, which is 5 years from now. And given that Xbox Series X and S launched in 2020, That's an 8-year-long cycle for this generation, which sounds about right. And then in this next slide, we get a breakdown for some of the technological advancements that they hope will enhance graphics and gaming. Again, there's this emphasis on cohesive hybrid compute, cloud-to-edge architecture across silicon, graphics, and OS, enabling ubiquitous play. And then there's an emphasis on leveraging AI and ML enablement. AI in particular is already leveraged on PC with DLSS and FSR, so it's definitely a great tool to enhance performance and graphics, optimization and acceleration of game performance, operations and development for players and creators. It reads right here. And also they want to emphasize creators, ensure that it's very easy for creators to be able to, play their games and stream them and share their experiences with audiences, so on and so forth. And then a further breakdown of all of this can be found right here for those who want to take a read of this. I won't go through all of this. You can pause and check this out for yourself. But yeah, they already have a basic outline of what this next generation console is going to look like. Though keep in mind that with the console still being 5 years away, a lot can change about all of this. These are very early plans, but they do have some kind of direction already for the next-gen Xbox, which should come as no surprise. And then beyond leaks surrounding Xbox hardware, we also got some details about some of their upcoming projects through this title release schedule slide. There's confirmation right here that a Starfield DLC is in the works, which is traditional for Bethesda, so that's not surprising. But there's also confirmation that there's an Oblivion remaster in the works. This I'm pretty pumped about. Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion is still my favorite Elder Scrolls game and one of my favorite gaming experiences when I played this for the first time back in the day. So to hear about an official remaster is pretty exciting. There are already rumors about this, but it looks like now we have pretty much confirmation. Beyond that, there's a new Doom game in the works titled Doom Year Zero. And then beyond that, there is going to be DLC in development for it. There are other projects like Project Hibiki and Project Kestrel that we don't know much about, as well as Project Platinum. Then there's Elder Scrolls Online expansion. There's always one in development. Elder Scrolls 6, we've already seen announcements that Bethesda is in the early development process of that title now that they're done with Starfield. That's their next big release. But beyond that, there are some pretty cool projects in the works, aside from stuff we don't know about, like Project Kestrel expansion and licensed IP game, whatever that might end up being. There is a Fallout 3 remaster that they're planning to ship at some point. For many, Fallout 3 is one of their favorite, if not their favorite, Bethesda games. So to get a remaster of this is kind of exciting for me as well. I'm glad to see that there's a Ghostwire Tokyo sequel in development, that they're leaning into some of their new IPs and trying to build upon what's already there. Dishonored 3, ladies and gentlemen, this is probably the thing that I might be even most excited about. It's between Oblivion remaster and Dishonored 3 when it comes to most hyped confirmations from this leak. And then finally, Doom Year Zero DLC. So apparently 2 DLCs in the works maybe, or planned to be in the works for this new Doom game. So yeah, some cool stuff happening, especially under the ZeniMax and Bethesda umbrella. Speaking of Elder Scrolls 6, it should be noted that while this isn't surprising, it is as good as confirmed that Elder Scrolls 6 will be an Xbox and PC exclusive. When Phil Spencer was recently asked about whether Elder Scrolls 6 will come to PlayStation 5, he wasn't willing to comment on it, saying that they're looking at games on a case-by-case basis. But looking at this leaked chart from the FTC versus Microsoft case, you can see right here that Elder Scrolls 6 is confirmed to be available only on Xbox and PC. In this row right here titled Platforms Available. Again, not surprising, Starfield was Xbox exclusive, so it makes sense that Elder Scrolls 6 and after that Fallout 5 will be Xbox exclusive as well. And then to conclude this video and all of the leaks that you need to know about, here's an article from IGN detailing an email that revealed that Xbox boss Phil Spencer at one point really wanted to buy Nintendo. IGN highlights down here that the Microsoft versus FTC trial over the buyout of Activision Blizzard has already revealed that Microsoft was thinking about buying Sega and Square Enix, and now we can add Nintendo to that list. There's a document where Phil Spencer straight up said that this would be a career moment for him. Here's a paragraph in question. I love this discussion and value you looking at the opportunities here. At some point, getting Nintendo would be a career moment, and I honestly believe a good move for both companies. Phil Spencer was super enthusiastic about this prospect, But for me, I would not look forward to Microsoft acquiring Nintendo. There's already too much consolidation happening. And for one of the big three to acquire a big three, for Microsoft to acquire one of the big three, I don't think that'd be a healthy thing for the industry, for competition. And plus, given how well Nintendo is doing on its own, I doubt they'll ever be interested in selling off the company or would be in a position where they need to sell off the company unless they really drop the ball with the next-gen console, unless they pull off like another Wii U level of failure. But Phil Spencer seems to believe that when it comes to acquiring Nintendo, it's better to play the long game. It's just taken a long time for Nintendo to see that their future exists off of their own hardware, a long time. And then scrolling further down, IGN detailed that Phil Spencer outlined a number of blocks on the merger, including the fact that Nintendo seemed uninterested in selling up. Not shocking at all. Spencer said he couldn't see an angle on a buyout in the short term, but he added, I don't think a hostile action would be a good move, so we're playing the long game. Microsoft has spent enough money on acquiring a wide array of studios. Now it's about focusing on ensuring that those studios are nurtured and that they're able to do their best work and deliver their best projects. Microsoft's strategy of just throwing money at everything and trying to acquire as much as possible, that'll only take them so far. And not to mention that one of the things that makes Nintendo stand out is the way they think outside the box and create unique hardware. Like the Nintendo Switch, I think, was an inspired idea that went off to do very successfully. Under Microsoft's umbrella, like how would that work in terms of trying to have a cohesive, unified console ecosystem? Would Nintendo games just kind of run off of an Xbox, or would Microsoft allow Nintendo to release their own hardware and release Xbox games on that? Like, I don't know, but either way, like keeping Nintendo a separate entity and letting them do their own weird thing, I think it adds variety to the industry, to the gaming landscape. I think letting Nintendo be Nintendo is a good thing ultimately, as far as their creative aspirations go. This is everything that you need to know about quite the crazy leak here. We haven't seen anything on this scale for a while, if ever. An entire next-gen console, or at least early plans and details getting leaked at this early stage. I think that's pretty unheard of, but that's the result of legal scrutiny from the FTC as a result of the massive scale of the Activision Blizzard acquisition. And it'll be interesting to see how many of these plans pan out and ultimately how Microsoft's next-generation console will turn out. And hopefully some of their upcoming projects, some of the remasters that they're doing, and some of the sequels that they're working on will be pretty banger. But only time will tell. Until then, let me know in the comments below what your thoughts and opinions are on all of these leaks surrounding the mid-generation refresh for Xbox Series, the new controller, and the next-generation console, at least what little details we know about it now, alongside some of the unannounced games that have leaked from Microsoft and Xbox. And to be further updated on all things gaming news, reviews, and discussions, stay tuned right here on Young Yeah. I'll see you guys next time. Young out.